Thank you for joining us on today's episode of Tax Matters. I'm Chamaka Ohauchi. It is generally agreed that revenue from taxes remains a major driver of economic development all over the world. In this regard, principalities or countries, if you like, have over the ages come up with different types of taxes, levies, duties, charges, call them what you like. Value-added tax, for example, was introduced in the late 60s and early 70s, and by the 80s, it had spread across the world. In Nigeria, VAT was introduced in 1993. In recent years, other taxes have been introduced while others have been modified. In April 2019, the Nigeria Police Trust Fund Levy Bill was enacted into an act by the National Assembly and was assented to by President Muhammadu Buhari on 24 June 2019. That is our takeoff point today. Welcome to our tax education segment. The Nigeria Police Trust Fund Act was passed by the National Assembly in April 2019 and signed into law by the President on 24 June 2019. The Act imposes a levy on the net profit of companies operating business in Nigeria to be paid into the fund. The Act establishes a fund, proceeds from which will be used to train police personnel and procure security machinery and equipment. The Act imposes a levy of 0.005% of the net profit of companies operating business in Nigeria, which translates into 5 naira per 100,000 naira of net profits. All companies operating business in Nigeria, including small companies as defined under SITA, non-resident companies and non-profit organizations that carry on trade or business in Nigeria are liable to pay Nigeria Police Trust Fund levy. The fund will also consist of 0.5% total revenue accruing to the Federation account, in addition to proceeds from grants, intervention funds, aids, donations, investment income, and so on. The Act empowers the Federal Inland Revenue Service to assess, collect, account for, and enforce the payment of the levy imposed by subsection 1B of the Act. The effective date for the implementation of this provision shall be 1st January 2022. This implies that Nigeria Police Trust Fund levy shall be chargeable on the net profit of 2021 financial statements of all companies operating business in Nigeria. The implication of this is that when you paid your company's income tax in 2022, which was on the accounts for the accounting year 2021, you should have paid alongside the company's income tax a police trust fund levy. That is to say, companies filing for accounts in 2023 for 2022 accounting year are paying police trust fund levy for the second time. The trust fund is to operate for a period of 6 years from the commencement of the Act, after which it would cease to exist unless extended for any further period by an Act of the National Assembly. 0.005% of net profit. Little drops of water, they say, make a mighty ocean. Let us all join hands to give Nigeria a befitting police force. It is expected that in a few years' time, dividends of the levy will be felt across police formations, across the country in the provision of equipment, welfare of personnel, construction and maintenance of police stations and barracks, vehicles, and many more. And these will be felt by the taxpayer. Yes, the taxpayer is at the center of the tax-paying value chain. When citizens pay taxes, they expect provision of amenities in return. Executive Chairman FIRS Mr. Mohammed Nami is a firm believer in the link between tax payment and the provision of amenities as a veritable tool for the encouragement of tax compliance among the citizenry, and he seizes every opportunity to talk about it. On the 4th of October 2022, at the launch of the FIRS Service Charter with the Nigerian public, Mr. Nami harped on this.
As citizens, we should be fair to government. As Nigerians, we should start to trust the government. As number one economy in Africa, we should understand that tax is a statutory responsibility. And as citizens, we should be able to pay taxes. We should also know that globally, tax is a social contract between government and its citizens. It is when, as a citizen, you fulfill your own obligations that you have moral rights to ask government to account for taxes that other people pay. Nigerians are expected to understand that globally citizens pay for their own civilization. As most infrastructures, privileges in advanced countries were made possible by the revenue generated through the taxes citizens in those globally developed countries pay to the government. Above all, we appeal to government at all levels to also give taxpayers value for the money they pay as taxes.
I want to quickly point out the last thing the executive chairman said. He said, I'm appealing to government to let Nigerians have value for money. Trust is at the center here. Citizens as customers, they have legitimate expectations. If we pay our tax, are we going to get quality infrastructure? Do we have good roads? That's a question, take-home question for the executive director and his stakeholders. And so as he's asking us to pay, requesting taxpayers to pay, he needs to hold government to fulfill their own part of the bargain.
Every day, my people dey for work. Some dey do office work, some get them own business. So all of them want good road, constant power for better life. Oh, whether na office work, oh yeah, pay your tax. Whether na your own business, oh pay your tax. If you want a better life, oh pay your tax. Na your civic responsibility. Pay your tax. Better soup, na money cook am. Oh yes. Nothing goes for nothing, my brother. If you want potable water, security and hospital for make life jolly.
That's right. Good roads, good hospitals, portable water, adequate security all come from taxpayers' money. Play your part in making Nigeria great. Everybody, small scale, big companies, entrepreneurs, do the right thing. Pay your tax. This message is from the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS.
And we can confirm that indeed, government is reciprocating the gesture, the sacrifices of taxpayers. In continuation of our Tax Impact series, we bring you the second installment of the Lagos University Teaching Hospital story.
My name is Emma Bassi. I chose LUTH because I've been attending a particular clinic here. So, being that I've been attending a clinic with them, I decided to choose their O&G section for my gynae and antenatal care. And it's been a wonderful experience with them. Interacting with the medical personnel too had been fine, because when you ask questions, they tend to give you your answer, and they have this one-on-one interactions with patients. That is, if you are patient enough to listen to them.
This is the Labor Ward Stroke Neonatal Unit Complex. It was built about 40 years ago, but totally renovated 100% by the federal government of Nigeria. We have the Labor Ward Complex to my immediate right, and to my back is the neonatal complex. You know, mother and baby, they're interwoven. You deliver the baby, you hand over to the pediatricians. In the old Labor Ward theater, we had 2 theaters. But with the recent renovation, it's been increased to 4 theaters, which gives us more space and time to operate. We have the 14 private delivery suites, all in suite delivery rooms, 2 HDU, that's high density units for critically ill pregnant women. And across it all the way down to my left, to my back, is the neonatal unit, where you put the premature babies, or very sick babies, babies that cannot go to the wards with their mothers. They are here, and they come from the wards to see them. So that's what this, in summary, that's what this place is all about.
Well, I've never had any opportunity to attend private hospitals. I've only had opportunities to use government hospitals, like Military Hospital, UCH, and now LUTH. And it's been a wonderful experience. If I am not mistaken, it should be from the taxpayers' money. People will pay tax so that we can also enjoy from the government also.
This is for the public. It is the cheapest world-class service you can get at the cheapest price. It's a public hospital. You can't charge like private facilities. If you have a private facility with the kind of facilities we have here, you'll be paying serious money. You'll be surprised, delivery is 25,000 naira, normal delivery. So that's why it's a public facility. So that's cheap. And there's no private hospital in Lagos. They can get delivery free for 25,000 naira. It doesn't work out that way. 100% fully funded, innovated by the federal government of Nigeria.
LUTH, right from inception, was a center of excellence, providing much-needed tertiary healthcare to patients from all over Nigeria and West Africa. But LUTH became even more so within the last few years, thanks to the decision of the President Muhammadu Buhari administration to improve healthcare delivery across board. In the wake of the outbreak of COVID-19 in early 2020, the federal government gave a lifeline to 52 federally owned teaching hospitals and FMCs across Nigeria. LUTH was one of them. Some of the world-class facilities at LUTH include the state-of-the-art cancer treatment center, the brand-new labor ward, an ultra-modern intensive care unit, a dialysis center. Other government interventions include 24-hour electricity supply, the provision of 6 new lifts, solar-powered street light provided by the SDG office at the presidency, as well as an ultra-modern outpatient department under construction.
This is the newly commissioned intensive care unit of the Lagos University Teaching Hospital, 30 bed, the biggest in this part of the world. You know, like I said, LUTH is 60 years old. Before now, we never had up to 8 ICU bed spaces, meaning in a city like Lagos, a state like Lagos with over 22 million people, with a tertiary institution having about 8 bed ICU, definitely is not adequate. So the federal government gave us the fund to establish a new intensive care unit, 30 bed. We have 12 open ICU and 18 private self-contained rooms for ICU, making 30. And it was commissioned by Dr. Folashade AMYMAT on 16/2022. We are hoping to start admitting patients before the middle of March. The training started last week because you need to train personnel. Also the ICT team also need to train our people. So the federal government also gave us 6 new lifts, courtesy of SDG office. The presidency gave us 6 new lifts, and these are the ones that they're fixing. They are done with 3. This is number 4. There's a number 5 there. Then we are also going to see the one that is built from the scratch, number 6. So to support us. That is the set power. That is our generating plant. Like I told you, December 7th, 2017, we switch on this. I've been having 24 hours electricity in LUTH. It's a gas power. We connected gas at Ojuelegba, which is about 1 kilometer. So pipes were laid from here to Ojuelegba. Through the office of the SDG presidency, they also gave us 300 solar powered street light, and you need to come to LUTH at night to see how bright LUTH is. It's been wonderful.
Because of the leadership provided by the federal government, NGOs, corporate organizations, and public-spirited individuals have also joined hands to take LUTH to the top.
I would say thank you for providing such opportunities for us, and also if they can still do more to even make it better for others who can't really afford it, because there are cases of people who, while they are in the hospital, find it very difficult to even pay for bills. It's not as if one person is better than the other, it's just grace of God. So if they can even make it better, at least create probably an avenue where people can go ask for help, if not all, but at least something they can request for to help them pay their bills. It really pays to pay your taxes.
It surely pays to pay your tax. With your tax, more is possible.
And what this has done has been really, really tremendous. So from Obajana to Kaba, to Apapa to Wurushoki, those are two important roads. Apapa Wurushoki was the gridlock point, really, of our biggest port, and by extension, the whole economy. So we're nearly done with that 27-kilometer road, building it with concrete. That road was built in 1974-75. So that's the road that evacuates the port from Apapa through Mile 2, Ushudi, Bagada, Wurushoki, Ojota, Ibadan, Oyo, Ogbomoso, or Shagamu, Benin, Ore, either way you want to go. So it's a national asset situated in Lagos, but it doesn't belong to Lagosians. We are just trustees of it, because all the importers of Nigeria who use that port. So that is how significant tax can be. Just one road relieving a whole nation. And Obajana Kaba leads to the cement factory of the sponsor of that road. So just go to the gentlemen and women who work in that factory. But you know their personal income is paid to Kogi State. So don't miss it. But then the company pays income to the federal government. And then, but that road is the one that keeps that company in production. If that company shuts down production, the jobs are gone. The tax incomes are gone. So you see how tax goes both ways, to keep businesses going, to earn more taxes, and to put them back. We also have NLNG, again, a jointly owned federal and private company, and federal has the minority shares, private sector has majority shares. Income from there has also been deployed under the tax credit scheme to the Bodo-Bonny Bridge. And that is the first time you will see Bodo and Bonny Island linked by road in the history of human civilization. The only way to get there before was to fly by chopper or by canoes and ferries. So it's the first time in the history of mankind that you will drive to Bonny from Bodo Island. And Bonny is our biggest gas processing island in the country. But you can't reach it by road. It's almost finished. It's a 49-kilometer road comprising about 3 major bridges and 10 small bridges. So we're almost done. That's the place. There's a bridge across the Opobo Channel. Opobo Channel, if you remember Nigeria's history, was where King Jaja once reigned. So there's so much nostalgia in me every time I go to inspect that bridge, because I read about King Jaja in primary school as a young history student. And just connecting with that place is an enormous privilege for me to be in charge of a project that adds value to King Jaja of Opobo's territory. And it's so nostalgic for me every time I remember it. So, but this is what taxes do. And I can't even tell you the number of jobs, the people employed because of that initiative.
You are still on to tax matters and still on the educational lane. We encourage our viewers to react to our offering on this program. From time to time, we get feedback in form of commendations, suggestions for improvement, and enquiries. Today, we want to respond to some of the enquiries that came our way in the week before. Ofobike Juliet asked, when should a new business start filing tax returns? Filing of tax returns actually commences from day one, and that is because there are some taxes that become due immediately a company commences operation. A very good example is value-added tax, VAT. All companies with turnover above 25 million naira must pay and must collect VAT on behalf of the government from day one. Another tax is withholding tax. Withholding tax is not actually a tax on its own, but an advance payment of tax for which credit is given at the end of the road. So Justina, yes, company's income tax is due 18 months after commencement of business. A company's accounting year is 12 months, and the company is allowed by law to file and pay due company's income tax in 6 months after the end of its accounting year. But VAT is due from day one. Withholding tax is due from day one. Stamp duties will arise. So if you do not have a taxpayer identification number yet, apply for one immediately. Begin to fulfill your civic responsibility. We must point out that Tax Identification Number, TIN, is now automatically allocated to a newly registered company. So tomorrow, please approach the nearest FRS office, or better still, visit www.taxpromax.gov.ng or www.frs.gov.ng.
Do you provide goods and services? Then you must answer these important questions. Are you registered for VAT? Do you charge VAT on the goods and services you provide? Do you keep records of all your transactions? Do you file VAT returns? Do you remit VAT collected to government coffers? If your answer to any of these questions is no, then you are breaking the law. The law demands total compliance. Therefore, you must register for VAT. You must charge VAT on goods and services. You must file VAT returns. And you must remit all VAT collected on behalf of government within 21 days to the bank nearest to you. To do otherwise is a crime punishable everywhere in the world. VAT is prescribed by the law. Do the right thing. Collect and pay VAT. This message is from the FIRS. It pays to pay your tax.
Nduchinwe, you want to know the different taxes due to FIRS and the Federal Capital Territory Internal Revenue Service. The Federal Inland Revenue Service collects taxes due to the federal government of Nigeria as listed on your screen. The Federal Capital Territory Internal Revenue Service collects all the taxes, the levies, the charges, the duties that concern individuals and enterprises that are collected by the state government. In simple terms, as displayed on your screen, all taxes, all levies, all charges, all duties collectible by Kebbi State, collectible by Ebonyi State or Lagos State are also collectible by the FCT-IRS. As also displayed on your screen, the area councils of the FCT collects charges, levies, duties collectible by the 774 local governments in Nigeria. Keep your inquiries coming. Let's have your say. It pays to pay your tax. And it is on that note that we'll conclude our offering on today's episode of the program. Again, we ask, are you ready for the 25th Annual Tax Conference? Have you packed your bags? It promises to be exciting. See you there. Thank you for watching. Have a great week ahead.